Welcome back to Kindness Stories, the place where everyday acts of courage, compassion, and unexpected kindness come alive to inspire us all. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you never miss a story that might just change your day or even your life. We believe that even in a world full of cruelty, kindness always finds a way to shine through. And sometimes it hides behind the most unexpected moments, like today's story. So sit back, relax, and let me tell you about a girl who refused to let cruelty break her spirit, and how her bravery brought an entire community to its knees in awe. Asterisk gets started on a chilly Monday morning when Emily stepped through the massive metal gates of Lincoln High School. She was the new girl. Her mother had just moved them across the state after Emily's father passed away the previous year. They were looking for a fresh start. Emily was the quiet kind, a bookworm who liked to spend her time drawing or reading. She didn't talk much, but always wore this gentle smile that made people feel comfortable around her. Unfortunately, Lincoln High was the kind of place where that gentle smile made her a target. Asterisk on her very first day, Emily wore her favorite shirt, a simple white blouse her father had given her for her 13th birthday. It had tiny embroidered flowers near the collar. It made her feel close to him. Even though he was gone, she clutched her books to her chest, trying to ignore the stares. But it didn't take long for the predators to spot her. Asterisk, the main bully, Jackson, had been ruling the sophomore class in 7th grade. He was big for his age, broad-shouldered, and always surrounded by his crew. They loved to pick on anyone who looked different, shy, or too weak to fight back. To them, Emily was fresh meat. Asterisk at first. It was just taunts. "Hey, new girl, where'd you get that shirt? Did you steal it from your grandma's closet?" Jackson sneered as his friends laughed. Emily tried to ignore them, ducking her head and quickening her pace. She knew if she gave them no reaction, maybe they'd get bored and leave her alone. But if you've ever dealt with bullies, you know it never works like that. Asterisk, by the second week, the taunts turned into shoves. Jackson and his cronies would corner her near her locker, flick her books out of her hands, or step on her shoes so she'd trip. They started calling her names like Little Miss Perfect and Daddy's Ghost Girl. Every word felt like a knife twisting into her heart, but she held it in, refusing to cry in front of them. That's what they wanted, and she wouldn't give it to them. Asterisk, one Friday afternoon, it all came to a head. Emily was sitting under the big oak tree near the back of the school during lunch break, sketching in her notebook. She was drawing a picture of her dad. It was the only way she could feel like he was still with her. She didn't notice Jackson and his crew sneaking up behind her. Before she could react, Jackson grabbed her sketchbook and flipped through it, mocking her drawings. Asterisk, "Look at this. Ghost girl drawing her dead daddy again." He laughed, holding the sketchbook up so his friends could see. Emily stood up, trying to snatch it back, but Jackson was taller, stronger. He shoved her so hard she fell to the ground. And then he did the unthinkable. He grabbed the hem of her precious white blouse and yanked at it. Asterisk, the sound of ripping fabric echoed in her ears like a bomb going off. The embroidery her father had done by hand years ago was torn apart. Jackson dangled the torn piece like a trophy while Emily sat frozen, her heart pounding in her chest, tears finally spilling down her cheeks. Asterisk, but instead of feeling fear, something snapped inside her. All the grief, all the loneliness, all the bottled up rage she'd been burying since her dad died. It all burst out like a dam breaking. Emily stood up slowly, her hands clenched into fists so tight her knuckles turned white. "Asterisk, give it back," she said, her voice low, trembling with fury. Asterisk, Jackson smirked. "Or what? Gonna cry on me?" Asterisk, but before he could react, Emily lunged at him. She grabbed his wrist, twisted it so hard he dropped the fabric. She didn't stop there. It was like watching a storm take human form. She punched him right in the nose. The crunch made his friends gasp. Blood spurted from Jackson's nostrils as he stumbled back. But Emily didn't stop. She swung again and again, fueled by every insult, every shove, every cruel laugh. Asterisk, one of Jackson's friends tried to pull her off, but Emily turned on him like a wild cat, elbowing him in the stomach so hard he fell to the ground wheezing. Another boy grabbed her hair, but she spun around and kicked his knee. He screamed as he collapsed. By the time a teacher finally ran over to break it up, 3 boys were lying on the ground, one with a broken nose, one gasping for breath, another sobbing in pain. Asterisk, Emily was pulled away, her face streaked with tears and dirt. her blouse torn and bloodstained. She thought she'd be expelled on the spot, and for a moment, she didn't even care. She'd had enough. She defended herself. She'd stood up for her father's memory, and no punishment could take that away from her. But what happened? Next was something no one could have expected. Word of the fight spread like wildfire. Some students whispered that Emily was crazy, others called her a hero. But the real surprise came when the school principal sat her down. Instead of yelling at her, he looked at her with a sadness in his eyes. I know what Jackson and his friends did. He said quietly, "You shouldn't have to defend yourself like that. We failed you. And for that, I'm sorry." He suspended Jackson and his friends for a month. They were forced to write public apologies to Emily and attend counseling sessions. But it didn't stop there. Parents got involved. They demanded to know why the school hadn't protected her sooner. A few brave kids came forward with their own stories of being bullied by the same group. An investigation was opened. For the first time in years, the power balance shifted. Emily didn't go unnoticed either. The local newspaper wrote about her story. Brave new girl takes a stand against bullies. Some people criticized her for the violence, but many more praised her for standing up to them when no one else would. Strangers sent letters to her house, telling her how brave she was. One woman even mailed her a new blouse with hand-embroidered flowers, just like the one her father had given her. But the biggest change happened in the hallways of Lincoln High. For the first time, kids who'd once hidden their bruises or kept their heads down started speaking up. They formed an anti-bullying club and named Emily its first president. She didn't want the attention. She just wanted kids like her to feel safe. She used the club to share her story, to help others find their voice before they reached their breaking point. It wasn't always easy. Some days, the old anger threatened to bubble up again. But instead of fists, Emily found other ways to fight. She taught self-defense classes after school. She organized kindness challenges where students had to do something nice for a stranger every week. Little by little, the school that once felt so cruel started to feel a little kinder. One day, after a particularly long club meeting, Emily sat alone under that same oak tree. She pulled out her sketchbook, a new one, gifted by a teacher. She sketched her father again, but this time, she drew herself beside him, holding his hand. For the first time in a long while, she didn't feel alone. Her mother joined her. Sitting quietly on the grass, she wrapped her arm around Emily's shoulder and said, "Your dad would be so proud of you." Emily smiled. "I think he'd say I hit like him." Her mother laughed through her tears. "He'd say you hit harder." From that day on, Emily became a symbol at Lincoln High, not of violence, but of standing up for what's right, no matter how small you feel. Her story traveled far beyond the school walls. Other schools invited her to speak about her experience. Parents wrote her thank you letters for giving their children the courage to face their own bullies. Even Jackson, years later, reached out to her. He changed. He said therapy had helped him understand the pain he'd been passing on to others. He apologized again, this time face to face, and Emily forgave him. Because kindness isn't about forgetting what someone did. It's about freeing yourself from the poison they left behind. So, what can we learn from Emily's story? That sometimes kindness comes in the form of courage. That sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is to stop letting people break you. And that when you stand up for yourself, you're not just fighting for you, you're fighting for everyone who never found their voice. If you're out there listening to this, and you're going through something similar, please remember this. You are stronger than you think. You are not alone. And even when the world feels cruel, kindness is waiting inside you, waiting to be unleashed in the form of your truth, your courage, and your compassion. Before we wrap up, let me ask you, who is your Emily? Or maybe, are you someone else's Emily? Let us know in the comments below. Share your story. You never know who might find hope in your words. Thank you for watching Kindness Stories. If you like this story, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe for more real stories that remind us all. Kindness is never wasted. And sometimes it takes a little rage to remind the world just how strong kindness can be. See you in the next story.